Now, from the Aurangabad campus, I'd like Dr. Karishma Kapoor, who is an MPT scholar and has worked as a frontline warrior, to share her experiences in working with the COVID patients. Over to you, Karishma.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful morning and welcome to Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Shashank Dalvi sir and all the dignitaries, respected teachers and my dear student friends. Myself Karishma Kapoor, master students from School of Physiotherapy Aurangabad. It's my honor more than a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to share my experiences on first modern pandemic. Before that, I wish you all a very happy World Physical Therapy Day. Well, Albert Einstein rightly said, the only source of knowledge is experience. While the country is fighting against the COVID 19 pandemic crisis, the ones on front line, doctors, healthcare workers, we are working excruciatingly hard for the welfare of patients and to minimize the damage caused to society due to pandemic. Postings in ICUs actually felt like a world war, except that we all are on the same side. Wearing a plastic armor and working for 6 hours a day, I felt like a soldier. Imagine being wrapped in a non porous sheet for over 2 hours in heat. But it is always said that protection actually comes at a cost. And the cost was headache, hypoxia, blurred vision through goggles. But believe me, it was nothing in front of the satisfaction caused to COVID 19 survivors. Well, my mom always said, strength doesn't come from what you can do, it always comes from overcoming the things that you once thought you couldn't. Every new posting taught a new lesson each day. The lack of definitive cure for infection is making our work extra tough each day. The extra added pressure of calming the nerves of patients and their families. For this, we not only have to attend to patients in person, but also stay connected to them. A few minutes talk during the session literally boosts the mental support of the survivors. The coronavirus pits all humanity against the virus. The damage caused to health, wealth, and well being has been enormous. Since the outbreak of coronavirus, our team of healthcare professionals have not only experienced the gratification of healing patients and improving their quality of lives, but also have lost many battles along the way. Many among us have even sacrificed their own lives in the line of duty. The threat of catching the disease and infecting out our own families is still a nightmare. I had to give up going homes and had shifted to a solitary accommodation. Fear of uncertainty, heightened risk of infections, and balancing the commitment given is a everyday task now. Definitely, we all are humans, and there is a fear, there is psychological upheaval, there is stress. However, I think we must keep working because nation is in trouble. I am extremely proud to be the part of COVID team as a physio. It gives me immense pleasure when patient becomes less independent on O2 therapy after the physical therapy sessions. That comforting smile from patients after the removal of secretions energizes me with a new hope each day. The few meters of walking in ward with patients felt like a walk towards betterment. The flying of the spirometer balls higher and higher after each session self-motivated me, which ultimately helped in improving the lung capacities of the patients. Those shivering hands of mine for the mobilization of bedridden patients actually helped in preventing the further complications. The release of endorphins after the movement therapy, which reduced the fatigue levels, was actually an achievement. Various positionings given in patients improve their saturation levels and relieve dyspnea. Looking at this side of experiences, I feel worth enough to put myself at risk again and again. Coronavirus pandemic has been teaching us the biggest one lesson in to find ways to sufficiently invest in better and more efficient medical fraternity and give respect, compensation, and infrastructure to all the frontline workers. Nothing would be a greater tribute than this. I would like to end my few words by the wordings of King Martin Luther King. Ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort, but where he stands at time of challenge and controversy. And now is the time to decide, and now is the time to act. Be a COVID warrior and feel proud to be a physio of COVID team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karishma. It was so now I invite Mayanka Pandey, who's our intern from the MGM School of Physiotherapy, Navi Mumbai, to share her experience uh, working in this pandemic. So Mayanka, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Mayanka,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
audible.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Mayanka Pandey. I am the intern at MGM Institute of Health Science, Navi Mumbai. Firstly, I would like to thank our organizing committee for giving me such an amazing opportunity on such a beautiful day, that is a physiotherapy day, and my best wishes to all the physiotherapists out there. As I'm here today to share my experience on my experience during the pandemic. So the pandemic was something which none of us saw or dreamed about, and being an intern, I passed my final exams in the month of January, and I was asked, and I worked as an intern for 6 months. And at that time, around somewhere around the world, the coronavirus had started extending its leg from one corner to another corner. And in the month of March, India started having the most positive cases. That's when the lockdown happened, and it was announced that the lockdown will like lockdown will be there until the further notice. So yeah, so in the month of the June, we got a call from our coordinator that we have to join back on and resume for an internship. And I was really worried about the situations that were going around, and how it is going to affect me and my family at the same time. But I looked at it as an opportunity to treat the patients who are really in need, and I got that opportunity by joining back. So on the first, so we basically got the duty in the non-COVID ward, but the patients who were positive and later on were negative were shifted to the non-COVID ward also, and we got an opportunity to treat both the patients who are also not the patients who are negative and the patients who have other and the patients who also have the other are affected by some other diseases or whatever we can say. So yeah, so all of us interns were given the opportunity to work in the non-COVID ward on rotation basis. So on the first day, I was really anxious about how am I going to face the patients, or how the hospital environment is going to be. But we were provided with the best safety gear, and the environment in the hospital was as it was before, and it really made me and it really encouraged me to treat the patients more energetically, and it was really a best experience I would really ask everyone to go through as being a medical professional. And being the frontliner warrior in this, it was the best opportunity that I would ever ask for, and I really thank MGM for giving me such an opportunity that my parents are even proud to tell all of their friends and in the community that my child is working in the hospital, and be it a COVID ward or non-COVID ward, but she is working in an environment where there are COVID patients, and she's helping some or the other way to treat the patients and help them to get back to their daily basis. So I really thank MGM for giving me this opportunity, and yeah, happy World Physiotherapy Day to one and all again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayanka. Now I invite Mr. Aditya Anvikar, who's an intern working in the COVID wards at MGM School of Physiotherapy, Aurangabad. So, Aditya, can you just start sharing your experience?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Good morning, one and all. I like to thank Dr. Rinkal Malani, ma'am, to keeping faith on me, like working in the pandemic situation. I was posted with Dr. Santosh Doba, who is a cardiorespiratory MPT working as a staff in MGM MGM Institute of Physiotherapy, and he guided me throughout the COVID posting. When I entered the COVID ward and COVID ICU, after in the dawning area, he backed me with his some words that just don't be feared, just fight through the COVID situation. And we entered the COVID ICU. After a few hours, like hour or two, I felt like kind of hypoxic as my work of breathing increased and I was unable to breathe. So, sir helped me through this and we started treating patients. What I felt like is talking to the patient, speaking to the patient like a medical worker or professional rather than talking with a medical profession. We should talk them with like a family member, and psychologically patient heals is 50% there itself. We started giving treatment and exercises. And I like to share my experience with a patient, Mr. Qureshi, who was admitted in MCR ICU in MGM. He was kind of into a fear and was unable to even sit, although he was all right and his saturation level was above 95%. We started treating him. He was feared of us, like for the 2 days, he didn't responded us very well, but after 2 days he himself feel like physiotherapy is really helping him to get recovered. On the third day he himself stood up with the ventilator on, and he walked into the area and he did exercise also, and he thanked us like from bottom of his heart that we helped them. Then what problems I faced is while you are in the PP kit, you are unable to speak slow, like you have to speak loudly, and your energy expenditure is more in the PP kit, like you have to shout and tell the patient so that he can hear. So what me and sir did was we printed a poster of breathing exercises, and we graphically represented them, and they understood it well. I think use of mechanical instruments like chest vibrator also helped us to relieve our stress. And lastly, I would like to add that uh, the interns doctor, MBBS doctors and nurses who are working over there in the COVID situation for 8 to 12 hours in the BP kit also need a stress-free environment and a relaxing time. So what I think is there should be a physical session for them also, as they are into a very stressful and tense situation. Me and sir did one session for them in the MCR ICU also, and they feel relieved and stress-free, and they work efficiently. I like to thank NGM School of Physiotherapy and Dr. Rinkal ma'am and Santosh sir for allowing me to work in the COVID situation and helping me to uh, sculpture my career in physiotherapy line uh, and medical field. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. It was really good to hear your experience. Now we have another intern from MGM School of Physiotherapy, Aurangabad, Miss Renuka Khedkar. She also would be sharing her experience on working in this pandemic situation, being posted in the COVID wards. So, Renuka, over to you.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I am Renuka Khedekar, intern of MGM School of Physiotherapy, Aurangabad. First of all, I would like to wish you all a very happy World Physiotherapy Day. Talking about my experience about the COVID duty, it was outstanding and an amazing one. First of all, I was a little very anxious and I was scared because my mother is a cancer patient. I was worried whether because of me she might not get infected, but stood by me very strongly and supported and said that it's your job, you have to do it. So I backed my mind and I set off for my COVID duty. I was posted last week and this is my quarantine week. So, when I left my house for the first day, that is my day one for the COVID, I was little bit nervous and started doubting myself whether I would be able to get coped up with the situation or not, whether I'll be able to explain the patients properly, I'll be able to treat them properly or not. But then somehow I encouraged myself. I was accompanied by my staff, Dr. Shraddha ma'am, Dr. Payal ma'am, and my senior, Dr. Vrishali ma'am, who encouraged me all the time, right from getting up into the PPE kit to don it off. So when I entered the ICU, the situation it seemed very tense. The patients there were also very tense and worried. So what we did is we firstly went to them. We had a word with them, so that they were like they should feel confident in us. They should feel comfortable, and then we started moving them, like performing functional activities, moving them, making them functionally active, changing their positions, right from supine to sideline and prone, giving them chest PT for removing their secretions and motivating them. So the treatment basically for the active patients was very easy, and they all felt very boosted throughout the day. First 2 days, it was like difficult for me to perform in the PPE kit. Like we don't get oxygen inside, we feel very heated up, and that was the time when I felt like I'll get fainted here, or what should I do now? But I continued, and as the days passed, as the time passed, I got adjusted to that situation, and in the later on days it felt like normal. It was like I can work now. It was I was uh, fastened up while carrying the suit, also while doffing it off, also everything was seemed so normal after few days. And at the end I feel amazing, and the feeling of satisfaction is also there, that I was able to help out the country by serving, and yes, for the COVID survivors also. I would like to say something that, as being the frontline, I know everyone is panicking at this situation, is very tense, but we have also faced the pandemic situations, not our generation but past people have survived through the plague like disease also, and we can all fight this together. So I request all the uh, team members to come in together, get united, and we can together fight this COVID. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renuka.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful experience to hear out our students and their experiences in the COVID pandemic situation. So now we have our faculty members who will be talking on the topic raising awareness about the crucial contribution physiotherapy profession makes to keeping people well, mobile and independent during the COVID pandemic. So first we have Dr. Payal Murkudkar, who is a faculty of the cardiorespiratory department at MGM School of Physiotherapy, Navi Mumbai. So over to you, Payal.
A very warm good morning to everyone. So here we are celebrating the World Physiotherapy Day 2020. Embarking on 2020, none of us would have imagined to be in this pandemic situation and actually witnessing history which will be etched in our memories to come. Today on 8th September 2020, we are here celebrating World Physiotherapy Day with the WCPT theme of rehabilitation after COVID-19. Myself, Dr. Payal Murgudkar, Professor, Assistant Professor at MGM School of Physiotherapy, MGM IHS Navi Mumbai. Let us see our role of physiotherapy profession to keep people well, mobile, and independent in this very noise COVID pandemic. Now, in from mid of March, campus used to feel like a war zone. Every day passing was a new challenge. Slowly and steadily, we did overcome our fears and apprehension of the invisible. With ICMR recognition, MGM Hospital Kamote showed an influx of COVID patients. A sense being a part of the medical profession, a sense of call of duty was awakened, and we responded to that call. with much training regarding protective gear, sorting out various guidelines, do's and don'ts, multiple discussions with medical teams and the physiotherapy faculty. In last week of March, we started with physio catering to COVID patients at MGM Hospital, Kamuti. So initially, it was just treating the ICU and the EMS ward patients, and slowly, as the number of patients started increasing, we extended our physiotherapy care to the isolation wards. In isolation wards, patients were much stable as compared to the ICU. We started using use of a lot of charts, tele-rehabilitations, non-contact therapy. Now, when we were going through coming to a consensus for guidelines and we were discussing about how to go about treating the COVID patients, we came across this first guideline, physiotherapy management for COVID-19 in the acute hospital care. Approximately in month of March, Maharashtra State OTPT Council released guidelines for physiotherapy practice in COVID crisis. A few days later, guidelines for chest physiotherapy management in COVID-19 in Indian setup were released by Maharashtra State OTPT Council. And I'm very proud to say that one of our senior faculty, professor and head of cardio department at MGM School of Physiotherapy, Dr. Bela Agarwal, was one of the contributor to the guidelines. Soon, Maharashtra State OTPT Council would be releasing post-COVID guidelines, which will be very helpful for us for an evidence-based practice and treating the post-COVID patients. Now, till now, we are all aware that coronavirus was first recognized in Wuhan, China in December 2019 with common symptoms of fever, cough, chills, muscle pain, diarrhea, vomiting, etc. Let us see what are the impairments to be tackled by a physiotherapist. We are seeing a lot of hemodynamic instability. So heart rate and blood pressure recovery has to be maintained, monitored. Respiratory distress, desaturations, oxygen. We have seen so many patients with oxygen dependency. We have seen patients with impairments of mobility, strength, endurance, and balance arising due to atrophy and immobility. All these things together is leading to reduce in the functional capacity, leading to fatigue, and also because of a lot of oxygen dependency and reduced functional capacity, patients are having a lot of prolonged ICU stay, leading to ICU psychosis and cognitive impairments. So as a physiotherapy professions, we can do much bigger role for avoiding all these impairments and helping the patient in the acute stage to get discharged sooner. So our goals, physiotherapy goals in acute stage are to minimize the complications of immobility, respiratory care as per the need of the patients, weaning from the ventilator, facilitating early mobilization and continuing progressive mobilization with proper monitoring, functional independence, follow-up to maintain endurance capacity. Now, to meet our goals in the acute stage, physiotherapy interventions in acute stage, it's important, positioning is playing very important role to improve the ventilation perfusion ratio. Prone positioning is helping the patients to improve the saturations. Dyspnea relieving position with fixation of the upper extremity to relieve respiratory distress. Use of lot of breathing exercise to facilitate inspiration, deeper inspiration, and bronchial hygiene techniques to improve the airway clearance. Use of devices like incentive spirometer to facilitate inspirations, flutter and a cappella, inspiratory muscle trainer can also be done. However, care must be taken in terms of not stimulating a cough and looking whether the patient is really not going into a respiratory distress. Very important in early stages, early mobilization. So as and when the patient is hemodynamically stable, we have to do early mobilization. We have to do a very monitored, tailor-made and a progressive mobilizations, getting the patient out of the bed, getting the patient out of the ICU, and finally discharging the patients so that we are reducing the impairments of the acute stage. But it's very important to note that as COVID-19 causes a systemic inflammatory response, it is advised that your exercise program has to be very monitored, shorter time till discharge and stabilization. So monitoring is very, very important while seeing these patients in terms of saturation, respiratory distress, heart rate recovery. So we The role of physiotherapy doesn't end in the acute stage because we are seeing a lot of patients coming up post COVID with a lot of impairments. So surviving the disease may be just the first battle among many on the long road to recovery. Permanent scar, we are seeing so many patients coming up with lung fibrosis. There is permanent scarring of the lung tissue resulting in respiratory problems that may prolong after the recovery. Although COVID 19 predominantly affects the respiratory system, evidence shows that there is multi system inflammatory response. COVID 19 survivors who required critical care have been developing psychological, physical, and cognitive impairments. There are so many extrapulmonary complications that the patients develop, which include cardiac injuries, hemorrhagic strokes, neurological deficits, pulmonary embolism, liver damage, and many more, and a range of permanent organ damage. So, as a physiotherapist, post COVID, we play a vital role to reduce especially the physical impairments and in the lung impairments, permanent scarring of the lymph tissue to overcome these. So residual post-COVID, it's important that residual impairments have to be tackled. We have to get the patient functionally independent as sooner and as faster and in a much scientific way and much evidence-based practice. So progressive rehabilitation programs that can be best initiated in the first 30 days, that is the post-acute stage, plays a very vital and great impact on recovery of these patients. So our role doesn't end in the acute stage, but it's very important since the COVID-19, the number of patients are slowly increasing a lot. So we are seeing a lot of patients now. We are seeing a lot of patients post COVID. So our role of physiotherapy post COVID has become even though more important now than in the acute stage. Now, now looking at because of this pandemic situations, countries all over the world implemented lockdowns to counteract the COVID-19. Now, this lockdown heavily limited patients' exercise possibilities. It kind of fostered an environment of physical inactivity, increase in the screen time, and generalized deconditioning. Now, as we know, reduced physical activity is associated with risk of overweight, obesity, and cardiometabolic complications. And by being physical active by means of an exercise, might really considerably influence your ability to cope with COVID-19 crisis by reducing your stress, anxiety, overall boosting your immunity, well-being, and quality of life. So it's not just we are taking care of the COVID patients, but the normal healthy populations who are also at risk of catching up with COVID-19 or because of the reduced physical activity due to the pandemic are at a risk of increase in the cardiovascular risk factors. So social distancing measures have limited the opportunity for many to really participate in a structured exercise programs. It has, but as we see in a positive way, it has also increased potential opportunities for leisure time physical activities like family walks, hiking, gardening, yard maintenance, etc., to really boost our physical activity with respecting the social distancing rules and regulations. Various traditional aerobic endurance activities, just such as jogging, running, should be encouraged to the patients, to a normal, healthy individuals. As a physiotherapist, also, we should be first looking at ourselves. Are we really doing that much of physical activity? Are we really meeting up with those guidelines? Body weight exercises, handheld weight exercises are also acceptable alternatives to traditional resistance training programs. Social support, for example, in pandemic, what has really gone wrong is social support is a key component for many individuals to start or maintain a physical activity program. So we see a lot of, if a friend joins a gym, we also join a gym. So which has really not happened in this lockdown, which is particularly challenging in this current pandemic environment. So social media, virtual support groups, fitness app with community support really provides the encouragement. Online sessions, online training really is going to boost the encourage, it's going to provide the encouragement and motivate necessary to facilitate this behavioral changes. So role of physiotherapy, to sum up, in this pandemic, we are playing a very vital, we have seen our role in COVID-19 in the critical air. Now there's going to be boost really a boost of patients coming because the recovery has started happening. So we're going to really see an influx of patients of post-COVID. So we're going to play a very important role in post-COVID cases. Also for our non-COVID cases, our usual patients which we already are catering to, but also an important role in community in general to reduce the impact of reduced physical activity so that we are not really increasing the burden of non-communicable diseases which has lead because of this pandemic situation. So just to conclude, I would say as the battle continues, we have to stay healthy as a profession, to stay safe as we have a big role to play in the coming times. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Payal. It was an informative talk. Now I invite Dr. Pallavi Ratnaparki, our lecturer at Neurophysiotherapy Department of MGM School of Aurangabad, to share her views on the pandemic situation.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, you can start.
Yes. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the physios who are basically the frontline health workers in this COVID pandemic. And I would like to wish all a happy World Physiotherapy Day. So today, to sum up our services in this pandemic, I would like to uh, give some advice to the students related to our role in this pandemic. So, what exactly, how does that COVID-19 affect all organs of our body? Primarily, it affects our respiratory system, as we have already discussed this with Payal ma'am, that because what exactly the SARS-CoV-2 virus does, it actually inhibits the anti-inflammatory response. So what happens because of that, our inflammatory process is getting aggravated. So that inflammatory response, aggravated inflammatory response, is hampering all the organs of the body. So it is not specifically related to the respiratory system. As it attacks primarily to the respiratory, it causes inflammation over there, and the patient may land up with the lung fibrosis. And if the patient land up with the lung fibrosis, it will be a lifelong process. So this is not something which is easy to tackle with for the physios. So our role is very crucial here. What do we see in, if the lung fibrosis is there? We can see a ground glass appearance on the CT. So far as the pathophysiology of COVID-19 is concerned, there will be lymphopenia, reduction in the peripheral T cells. Patient may land up with the fibrosis. Then because of that, patient may land up with the thrombosis, and if it is not treated, if it is in the veins, patient may land up with the embolism, and if it is pulmonary embolism, it will be a life threatening process. So basically, SARS-CoV-2 virus, it affects not only the respiratory system, but we have other complications also. In so far as the CVS is concerned, it causes endothelial injury. Again, it causes the inflammation in the cardiac muscle, so patient will end up with a myocarditis. Then there will be arrhythmias, heart failures, and acute coronary syndromes nowadays are seen commonly in this COVID-19. So far as the GI is concerned, patient may end up with the diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and in severe cases, patient may have the liver injuries. So basically, it is covering all the organs, and it is damaging, causing inflammation in whole system of the body. So that is why it is difficult to tackle with it. It is not like that we cannot come up or patient cannot come up, but our role here plays a very important role. So far as the neurosystem is concerned, patient may end up with the confusion, headaches, agitation, and in severe cases, acute hemorrhagic necrotizing encephalopathy is very common. So other than respiratory, we have n number of things to tackle in COVID-19. How does it spread? It spreads from person to person, basically through the respiratory droplets, fecal or oral route, then through the body fluids and the sputum. What exactly is our role here? So I think physios play a very widespread role over here, because we are helping the patients who are critically ill, as well as to the patients who are in the community, or as well as our role is very important so far as the prevention is concerned. That means our role is important for the whole society also. Okay, because what happens, as we know, even there is no exact cure available till now for the COVID-19. But as we are seeing, few vaccines are available. But in few studies and researches, it has been found that if the patient is regularly exercising, the vaccine will work efficiently in those patients. So that means our role is very important to boost the effect of medicine, maybe if the medicine comes, or to boost the effect of the vaccine also. That means from ICU, from critically to the normal community, we are playing a very important role. So what exactly in the ICUs we give, as already Payal ma'am has mentioned few guidelines. This is just this is just to a gist of all those things. What do we get give in chest in ICU to improve the chest complications? So for that we are giving positioning to aerate the lungs. As we already discussed, that prone positioning is very helpful to aerate the lungs. Then alternate positions we can give. It depends on which area of the lung is most affected, and accordingly we can give. See what happens, we don't have any medications, we have limited medications to treat. So what do we have? So whatever part of the lung is preserved, we have to aerate it, we have to use it to its maximum capacity, so that the ventilator support should be reduced, then oxygen saturation should be improved, and the or maybe the O2 support should be reduced. So it is a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference. So that is why our role is very important to identify the area which needs to be aerated and which can be aerated, to select that way and give the position accordingly. So we have to see for the risk benefit ratio of prone positioning also when we are treating the patient. Okay, it is not like that every patient will be given the prone positioning. We have to see what other complications that does the patient have, and accordingly we have to decide whether that position will benefit that patient, and then accordingly we can give it and we can improve our patient that way. Then we can give breathing exercises. Then it depends on the patient's condition. Again, incentives parametric can also be introduced. It depends on patient's condition. Very important in ICU is the in-bed mobility. As we know, SARS-CoV-2 virus is causing thrombosis in so many cases. So if the patient doesn't move his extremities, what will happen? There will be stagnation of the blood, and it will lead to the formation of a clot or a thrombus, and that lead to formation of the DVT. And DVT again is a life threatening if it is if the embolus getting dislodged and getting pulmonary embolism. So what happens? In-bed mobility is also very important to prevent the DVT. For that, what we can give is all active RM exercises we can give them. As we know that it is causing muscle ache. So these active RM exercises are preventing DVT, as well as it is warming up the muscle. So the temperature of the muscle increases, and to some extent the pain may reduce. But again, we have to see how much is the inflammation in the patient. Okay, we should not aggravate that. So again, here our selection of exercise and decision of some specific protocol, it has to be tailor made according to the patient. Okay, then we have to in ICU also, out of bed mobilization is also very important. There is specific importance of the upright positioning also, because see what we have to do, we have to aerate the whole lungs. And if patient is bedridden for longer, what happens? Specific area of the lung is not getting aeration proper. So each activity has its own importance. It looks simple, but it has its own benefit and much significance. Then we have to make that patient, if the patient moves out of the ICU into the ward, then we have to make that patient ready for the discharge. See what happens, the two common things seen in the SARS-CoV-2 virus causing, or the COVID-19 causing, is the lung fibrosis, and second is the chronic fatigue syndrome. These two things what I have observed is patients are facing problems more because of these two conditions, lung fibrosis and chronic fatigue syndrome. So if there is lung fibrosis, definitely the aeration is not enough. The patient definitely will feel fatigue because enough oxygen is not reaching to the all cells of the body. And second thing is, as we have already seen, chronic fatigue syndrome. So what happens? Patient will lose the confidence of getting the things or getting to the normal. So here, our psychological support to the patient and giving him that motivation that yes, you can get back to the normal is very important. Okay, then we to treat the chronic fatigue syndrome, we have to, as I already told you, tailor-made program has to be there. But we can divide our program into three levels. It depends on what is the exact scenario of the patient's condition. So level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 exercises will be given. These are for the basically very weak patients who are there who are there continuously lying down for longer duration because they are very much fatigued. They don't have enough energy to get up and do the activities. Level 2 exercises are basically given, these are exercises which are given in the sitting position to motivate a patient. And level 3 are exercises which can be given in standing. So in level 1, what exercises basically we have started this giving these exercises because it depends on patient's condition. As I have already told you that patients who are lying down for longer duration, in them we have to start up. So immediately, suppose the patient is having too much of weakness and we are giving him heavy exercises, what will happen? The patient will have more of the fatigue, and patient won't be able to do or won't be able to progress our exercise program. So that way, we accordingly we have planned this thing. So in that we have to start first with the deep breathing exercises. Here we have to be very much tailor-made in selecting how much repetitions of each exercise should be given, because again it totally depends on patient's performance. Because see, as I already told you that it affects all the system, whole organs. That is why in each patient the scenario or the presentation of the disease will be different. That is why it's on patient's clinical performance. We have to decide how much repetition for each exercise should be given. First is we have seen deep breathing exercises, then the pulse rate breathing, then we can do blowing. Then I have already told you what we are giving in the ISU, like ankle pumps, then hip knee bends, leg crossing in the bed, then overhead arm stretch. Overhead arm stretch has its own benefit because it may help us to expand the lungs and aerate whole part of the lungs. Then out of the bed mobilization, in bed mobilization, the bedside sitting. Then we can, with the help of our support, we can take the patient sit to stand and then relaxation. See, relaxation here plays a very, very important role. Why? Because as we already discussed, it inhibits, COVID-19 inhibits the anti-inflammatory response. So what happens? That inflammatory process is increasing, and that is why the whole body is in trouble. So to reduce that inflammatory response, we have to keep our body stress free, because as we already know, if the body is in the stress, there will be fight and flight response, and again the inflammation will increase. So to avoid that thing, relaxation plays a very, very important role. So we should give some relaxation techniques at each part. It again depends on a patient's condition, for how much duration should we give it. Okay. Then level 2 exercises. In level 2, what we have to do for what basic exercises, if the patient is able to do level 1 exercises very comfortably, we can shuffle to the level 2 exercises, where we are increasing intensity of exercises as well as the frequency of exercises. And we can make those exercises little difficult. So with addition to level 1 exercises like deep breathing exercises, pulse breathing, then we can add chin up and down, then head turns on either side, shoulder rolls. We can add finger stretch. We can add calf stretch. Then bicep and wrist curls, overhead extension and abduction. We can add. Again, I have already told that level 2 exercises basically are performed in the sitting position. So these overhead stretches, bicep and wrist curls should be performed in the sitting position. But again, you have to see for the patient's condition. You should not make the patient feel fatigued. So before reaching to that fatigue level, we have to have a tailor-made program for them for all these activities. So intensity and frequency totally. That means our doses will depend on the patient's clinical performance. Okay. Then we can add some tummy twists to them. Then seated knee lifts and knee extensions can be added. Again, it will be helpful for prevention of DVT. And again, in each stage, relaxation plays a very, very important role, so that whatever activities they have done after relaxation, there will be regeneration, and patient may feel much better and a little bit of energetic. So patient won't feel fatigued. Level 3 exercises. Basically, most of these exercises are done in standing. We already discussed. So what exercises? Basically in standing we can do hip abduction, hip flexion. Then knee curls can be done in standing. Then sit to stand, squat, again. But the squat, you have to see how much is the patient's capacity, because squatting needs good strength, And in elderly, you have to see for if there is an ONE or any condition where squatting should be avoided. In that scenario, you won't use squatting. But if it is a young patient without any need of any contraindication for squatting, in those situations we can use squatting. Then lateral walking can be added. Then we can add lateral lunges. Then we can add wall push-ups. Then walking and relaxation techniques. So that way, these three level 1, 2, and 3 exercises are there. They should be tailor made, and they should be judged for doses based on the patient's clinical performance. Okay. So along with the affected COVID-19 patients, as we already discussed that we play a very important role for the normal population who is not infected but staying at home for longer. Fitness is very important thing for them. So for that, all of them should be taught about the importance of prevention. As we know, prevention is better than cure. So for prevention, what we can do, we have to educate the community related to about wearing the mask. Then they should have proper diet. That vitamin D, vitamin C should be there. B12 deficiency should not be there. They should be given supplements for that. Then zinc supplements and a proper healthy cooked food should be taken. Then maintenance of the hygiene is very important. Social distancing and breathing exercises, and patient or the community whole in itself should be motivated to do regular exercises so that the proper endurance should be maintained. Aerobic exercises should be taught to them. A specific importance to the yoga position should be given. And one more thing, because everybody in this pandemic is under the stress, and to reduce their stress, meditation plays a very important role. So to some extent, to the elderly patients, basically, whoever you priorly doing some meditations as well as yoga, we can ask them to continue that process. Okay. And our role as a motivator is very important. Physios must be a motivator. We must motivate the patients. We must give them confidence that they can get back to the normal and they can do their function. See, what is most important thing from patient's point of view, nobody wants to be disabled. Okay. And because of the chronic fatigue syndrome, patients here feel disabled. They can't move, they can't do their daily tasks. So, and they find that they are putting burden on their family members, because that infection, chance of infection spreading out to the community is also high. So that's why patient needs someone who can guide them or motivate them. So here our role comes, and it is very important. So, and one more important role of ours is to motivate the community to do breathing exercises regularly, as well as to maintain their fitness. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pallavi, for enlightening us with different levels of rehabilitation in this pandemic situation. Now I invite Dr. Rinkle Malani, Professor HOD of MGM School of Physiotherapy, Aurangabad, to give the vote of thanks.
A warm and graceful morning to the most valued dignitaries, faculty members, and dear students. I'm extending my warm wishes on the occasion of World Physiotherapy Day. On behalf of MGM family, I, Dr. Rinkle Malani, in charge principal of MGM School of Physiotherapy, extending vote of thanks. It's my privilege to acknowledge the contribution of those who really worked hard to make this World Physiotherapy Day celebration. In a bid to honor the frontline healthcare workers on the occasion of World Physiotherapy, we come up with the ideology of sharing experiences and role of physiotherapy in COVID-19 outbreak, which has brought the world to a world's standstill. The experiences shared on this platform showed a deep dedication, which displayed an unshakable faith and conviction that Corona can be defeated in India and humanity will ultimately triumph. First, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to MGM management, as their support means the world to our team. My sincere gratitude to Sri Kamal Kishore Kadam sir, Chairman MGM Trust Mumbai, and Sri Ankush Rao Kadam sir, MGM Trust Aurangabad, for resounding vision. I further extend gratitude to Dr. P.M. Jadhav sir, Vice Chairman, MGM Trust, for continual support. My sincere gratitude to Dr. Shashank Darvi, Vice Chancellor, MGM IHS Navi Mumbai, for making today's event a resounding success. I would also like to thank Dr. Nidin Kadam, Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, MGM IHS Navi Mumbai, for always being guiding. Further, I extend my thanks to Medical Director Dr. Sudhir Kadam, Member, MGM Trust, Dr. Pratap Rao Burare Sir, Member, MGM Trust. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Rajesh Goyal, Registrar, MGM IHS, Navi Mumbai, for enormous cooperation. Further, I am extending my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ajit Shroff Sir, Medical Director, College Aurangabad, Dr. Praveen Suryavanshi, Deputy Dean, MGM Medical College, Dr. Bora, Dean, MGM Medical College, Aurangabad, Dr. Rajesh Kadam, Deputy Registrar, Mrs. Prerna Dalvi, Deputy Registrar of MGM University, and Dr. Salgotra, Medical Superintendent, Navi Mumbai, for enormous this cooperation within the organization. I also extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Rajni Muller-Patan for being the catalyst to bring the best between the two campuses. Further, I am extending heartfelt gratitude to all faculty members of MGM School of Physiotherapy, Navi Mumbai and Aurangabad for their contribution to make this event success. I am extending my thanks note to all my dear students for keeping their high spirits in COVID-19. I would also like to thank the IT department who helped us to make this event successful. Last but not the least, on behalf of MGM family of MGM Institute of Health Sciences, in this valiant battle for humanity's future, I am extending gratitude to every health professional, emergency service provider, police, sanitation staff, our citizens for being patient during this tough time. With concluding remark, once again, I thank everyone. And with one concluding remark, India shall be safe and emerge victorious in this fight against COVID-19 because of everyone's selfless toil and sacrifice. Thank you, MGM family. Thank you, everyone. So now here I am concluding the event by thanking everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you everyone for joining. And we conclude the event here. Thank you. And a happy World Physiotherapy Day.